And as you can imagine, this was a shocker. So this is an abscess, basically a pus-filled blister. Patient actually had a shopping cart hit the back of her heel, and it just over 3 or 4 days started to become a blister. She came in because she had a quote-unquote blister. Well, this is not just a simple blister. This was an abscess. So essentially I had to incise it. I took a wound culture to make sure that we can identify the specific bacteria that is infecting this. Typically, this is always a staph infection, Staphylococcus aureus, which is basically a gram-positive bacteria. In this case, the patient's wound, it essentially got infected somehow. And you can see this is a whole lot of purulent drainage. My goal right now is just to drain it and try to get most of that drainage out before I start to debride this wound here, I should say, for those people who are in Europe. Debride, yes, I know. Anyway, the wound itself, has to be drained first. We have to get all this pus out. So I'm just squeezing, trying not to make it too much of a mess all over the place. But, with a pus-filled lesion like this, there's just not a really quick and easy way of doing this. So when most of it is drained out, I'll take my scalpel and my forceps and I'll de-roof this. Now normally if this was a regular blister without pus, we do not want to de-roof or cut away the top layer of a blister. But because this is full of pus, we have to get rid of all this dead tissue, this infected tissue. So I'm de-roofing essentially this pustule, trying to eliminate as much of that drainage as possible. Luckily, underneath, she actually has a pretty nice red granular tissue there. But I've got to make sure that there's nothing deeper. And as you can see, there's another whole little thick, calloused up layer right here, which I'm taking off. That is a really thick piece of skin. So this is something that the patient actually, when it first started, this was about 10 days ago. Before that blistered was about 4 days ago. So this quickly escalated. So now we've got most of all the top layer of that blistered skin and the dead skin off. Now I've got to inspect this wound. What do we have? Well, unfortunately, right there, she has a deep hole. And that hole wound is going down to the bone. So this is our challenge. We've got to, 1, get control of the infection. 2, make sure that this infection doesn't go deeper and track through her heel. And 3, and most importantly, we've got to keep that bone from becoming infected. If it gets infected, that is what we call osteomyelitis. That can be a very serious infection that needs more than just regular pills for antibiotics. It will need IV antibiotics for a long period of time. Again, I want to make sure I get rid of all of this dead tissue. And we'll dress it with a bandage. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more with a little betadine soaked gauze here, just to make sure that we kill any other type of surface bacteria. We still need to have her on empiric oral medication, which means I'll give her a broad spectrum antibiotic or a combination of 2 antibiotics initially until we have the wound cultures back. Once we have the wound cultures back, we'll determine if there's any resistance to any of these specific antibiotics. So I will see her back in a week, and we will see how she looks. All right, here's 1 week later. Wound looks so much better. She's been applying a wound dressing called Amerigel. As you can see, she's got a little bit of that callus buildup over the initial